Hey you guys, January 22nd marks the 8th year of my grandmother's death, and I didn't even know it until my eldest sibling hit me up via text message and told me that this is the 8th year of my grandmother's death. Anyway, my grandmother used to enjoy making beef and potatoes back in her days of living, and I am going to make beef and potatoes in her honor, and I'm going to do it a little differently. My grandmother always just used beef, potatoes, salt, and pepper, and that was pretty much it. Me, I like to add my own aesthetic, so I'm going to add potatoes, which are right here. I'm going to cut up a couple of more potatoes because it's just not enough. But anyway, I have my potatoes right here. I have my beef searing. I lightly floured it on all sides, and I have it searing. And after I take the beef out, I'm going to add it in here with the potatoes. And then I'm going to put the onions and garlic inside of the skillet after removing the beef. And then the potatoes that I'm going to cut, the remaining potatoes that I'm going to cut, I'm going to pretty much layer it on top of the beef. And I'm not doing everything according by the book. I don't have beef stock, I have chicken stock. So I've added a little bit of chicken stock already in here, and I have 3 more containers of chicken stock. So I'm going to add 1 more container of chicken stock, and yeah, that'll be beef and potatoes. I'm also going to slur some flour and water together and mix it in with the beef, potatoes, the garlic, the onions, also with the chicken stock in order to thicken the liquid. So let me see if I can go ahead and add the beef to the potatoes and then put the onions and, I was gonna say celery, the onions and garlic into the skillet. 1 second, you guys. Okay. Now let's turn this down low and add our onions and celery. One second, you guys. Should have known that was gonna happen. Hold on 1 second, you guys. Okay, hopefully that will keep it off while we continue cooking. All right, you guys, I'm going to cut up the remaining portion of the potatoes and go from there. All right, 1 second. Now, as you all can see, I've added the onions, and as you all can hear, the smoke detector has stopped. So anyway, if I have not mentioned, to sear the roast, I've added butter and olive oil, and what remained, the remaining olive oil and butter that remained inside of this skillet here, I ended up using for the onions and the garlic. And once this is complete, I will add this to the roast and potatoes along with the final potatoes that I'll be cutting up here in a few seconds and go from there. All right. As you all can see, the onions are cooking down tremendously, and in a little bit I'm going to add those to the pressure cooker and cut up these remaining potatoes, and that will be it. As you all can see, I've added the onions. I was going to cut 6 potatoes, but I may just do 4 or 5 because there's not going to be too much more room in this pressure cooker for anything else. Anyway, right here is my flour and water mixture to thicken the water. So I'm going to add this now. And let's get those remaining potatoes cut up, and that will be it. All right, you guys, the rest of my potatoes are added. I also added a little bit more of salt and pepper, and now I'm going to add the remaining, well, actually I just opened up a fresh container of chicken stock. Now, as I told you guys, I'm not going by the book. Neither did my grandmother, but she always used beef stock or either water when she created her beef and potatoes. I myself, personally, I like to add my own aesthetics. And who said that you had to use beef stock instead of chicken stock or vegetable stock? So I'm going to use some chicken stock because that's what I have on hand. And hopefully this will be enough to fill the pot. Then I'm going to cover it and allow it to cook for at least 6 hours. And then we'll have beef and potatoes in honor of my grandmother. I'll also add the remaining seasonings and or spices toward the end. Okay, will I be able to get all this in here? Yes. All right, you guys. I think I poured a little bit too much in here, but that is okay. Now let's cover her up. And let's put it on slow cook, 6 hours. And within that time frame, we'll have beef and potatoes.